Welcome to the Metaphysical Society for Conscious Living. My name is Lorraine Jensen, and today I am your host. My guest today, I'm very excited, is Kyla Adrienne. And Kyla and I've met a few times now, and I'm really embracing this new friendship and looking forward to introducing her to all of you. So welcome, Kyla.
Hi, thank you for having me, Lorraine.
No worries. Now, before I get back to this conversation with Kyla, I want to tell you a little bit about who we are. So we are the Metaphysical Society for Conscious Living. We are open to those seeking community connection, personal and spiritual development, and we offer opportunity to feel connected, empowered by providing educational and spiritual seminars, workshops, podcasts, and one day even a conference. Kyla is talking on April the 18th at the Unitarian Fellowship Hall at 595 Townsite Road here in Nanaimo. It starts at 7 o'clock, and we have a love offering at the door of $15. And the title of the talk is Enchanted Evening of the Paranormal. Enchanted Evening of the Paranormal. So I'm really looking forward to hearing about that. So as you listen today, if you're inspired by anything you hear or see and you want to share it with your friends, you can do that by going to the YouTube Metaphysical Society for Conscious Living site and share it that way. And it's also on the newsletter that comes out, and you can share it via that way. And please bring your friends. So let me tell you a little bit about Kyla. Kyla is a psychic medium. She is a professional paranormal investigator. She is an occultist and an occult educator. She is a licensed funeral director, a mortician, and certified master of funeral ceremony, as well as an artist and a published author. However, above all else, she is a traditional tarot reader, consultant, and having started at the ripe old age of 11 years reading tarot, holy moly, that gives her over 40 years of experience. Wow. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
You've read cards all over the globe, I understand.
All over the globe, I have clients everywhere, yeah.
Well, with Zoom these days, it's so much easier, is it not?
It's so much easier and so much more convenient as well. Everyone's in the comfort of their own home, and I love it. It's my passion. I've got tarot running through my blood.
I guess you do by now. So, Kyla, I'm going to start off. I've read a piece of your bio, like there's a lot of bio there, and you are a very interesting soul, and I really do look forward to this workshop, as well as getting to know you even more. But there's a word that sticks out for me in the intro, a few words, but the occult word is a word that I don't understand. Therefore, I have fear or anxiety around it, and then it just kind of pulls me back. So could you explain to me what that means?
There's a lot of heavy stigma around the word occult, and occult just actually means things hidden, things of the unknown, with them, the esoteric and mystical nature. That's all it means. That's it. People confuse it with the word cult, and then we're getting into the Jim Jones, don't drink the Kool-Aid stuff, right? But occult is actually just those subjects of magic and metaphysics of that nature.
Oh, so just normal to us.
Totally normal stuff.
Well, you know, a lot of the groups that I kind of hang out with, I mean, just through the facilitation of the self-development work that I do, people say, oh, that's a cult. They don't understand. And so I looked it up one day, and a cult, a C-U-L-T cult, is a community of like-minded people.
Yeah.
So I imagine that Metaphysical Society could be identified as a cult.
It is.
Of families, or it's that's all it is.
That's all it is.
It just takes it all away.
It does.
So your talk on April the 18th is called, what is it again? Enchanted Evening of the Paranormal.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that without telling me too much so that I still want to come.
Okay, so it's a PowerPoint presentation as well. There's going to be lots of pictures. Um, it's showcasing, pioneers such as the Warrens, right? I was totally into them as a kid. I've always had a great interest in the paranormal. Being born psychic medium, the first ghost I ever talked to was my deceased twin brother. So it's always been there for me. I've always had this passion. So, I've been doing this work for years, 20, 25 years now, doing professional investigations, house clearing, crossing spirits over. And I thought I would put together a presentation showcasing all of this. My husband, Scott, and I were married on Halloween. We had an amazing Halloween wedding in 2013. And I was like, you know what? For our anniversaries after that, he entertains and supports my interests, and we hit all kinds of haunted destinations across the States and Canada. So this presentation showcases some spots in New Orleans, Denver, Colorado, including the Croke Patterson Mansion, the original Overlook Hotel, Salem, Massachusetts, and I could go on and on and on about those kinds of places, but I'll save them for the show. And of course, across BC and here on Vancouver Island as well. So we talk about all that. I show some pictures. I also have the Steveston Ghost Walks. I was born and raised over in Vancouver. So my hometown, I grew up mostly in Steveston. And me and my paranormal partner, Lynn White, who's also a psychic medium, used to teach psychic development classes there. And we had an old time town ghost walk through, and that sparked our idea. Why don't we find other haunted places around our little sleepy village town? And we started digging into the archives and started doing investigations. And we put together an 18 place point around a 3-block radius around Steveston. And now we do the Steveston Ghost Walks a few times a year, which is amazing as well. So that's in there. And then I talk about energy transference and, haunted dolls. And then, of course, touching on some aspects of being
what's a haunted doll?
Haunted dolls. So
like those freaky, scary ones that you see in the movies?
Yeah, kind of like that. So people pick up secondhand items, including dolls. And energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It must move. And lots of times, whether it's a soul from a person or energy, if you think of it like a stain, that energy will move into something that's present during some kind of traumatic event, right? And it'll kind of stain that doll. So, we talk about that. I talk about how to avoid it. All kinds of things in this presentation. The hardest part about this presentation was making it 2 hours and what to leave out. I've been doing this one for years now, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger with each investigation that I do. So
didn't you just do an investigation over the last few days?
I did. I went to go do a haunted house on Friday night here local in Nanaimo. And it was, I can't get too much into it because of client confidentiality. However, I went, and we were very successful in crossing the spirit over. And that's my favorite part about it. I go to do these paranormal investigations, and I talk to these spirits if they're willing, and I get to cross them over to the other side. And nothing else in the world feels like that. The only way I can describe it is when I'm successful and I see them cross over. And when they cross over, it's like my blood turns into 7-Up. And this one Friday night, the whole family was present, and it was so powerful. There wasn't a dry eye in the house. Everybody felt the energy. Even the dad was like, what is that? Right. And he started crying, and I'm like, that's the spirit crossing over. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. So
was it like a family member, or
no,
it was something in the house that when they moved into?
It was a house which had the underground tunnels that collapsed with that terrible mining accident that happened in the city all those long years ago. And they had lots of spirits wandering around. And this one spirit had become bitter, and it started picking on their 15-year-old son. So that's what brought the attention to it. So I went in, and nobody talked to this spirit before. Nobody talks to them like they're people.
Right.
So I called them in. and you should have seen it. He was knocking things around the house. I love it. I never get scared. Every time people are like, oh, what, don't you get scared? I'm like, no, because I know that I'm the scariest thing in any haunted house I walk into. I'm that confident, right? So I went in and I talked to him and I explained to him how things actually work when we cross over. And it made all the difference in the world. And we called in his daughter. I called in his daughter. I say we because I don't work alone. I work with, and his daughter showed up and she helped me get him to cross over to the other side. It's amazing. I never get sick of this stuff ever. I just love it so much.
Amazing. I think I told you the other day that I had a similar experience. I was at a workshop once and I went in to use the bathroom and I could see this nun hanging in the corner, you know, and I every time I went to the bathroom, she was there and I was like, wow, you know, and I found out, you know, went to the front desk and asked, what did this place used to be? Of course, it was a nunnery. And then he said, well, I said, well, she's still in there, you know, and he said, just go and tell her it's time to go home. And I did, and she was gone.
Isn't that amazing?
It was amazing. Like, it was amazing. But, you know, as you describe, you know, the feeling of like, it's almost giving them their freedom.
It is. It's so beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And it makes me feel like I'm doing my work, you know, same thing with tarot, you know, it's a very powerful thing. And I know it's my calling and the work that I do just through my tarot. I know that that's what I'm supposed to be doing here on this planet.
Well, that's wonderful. You know, it's so nice when people actually know what they're here for. And there's so much freedom in that. So, I mean, I don't know that everyone's had their tarot cards read. I've had mine read many times, and you're actually gonna read mine, and you've read a few of my friends' cards over the last few days. So for people that don't know, how does that work?
So I stress that I read traditional tarot because traditional tarot is getting lost amongst all the new age tarot and all the oracle, okay? Learning traditional tarot can seem very intimidating. There's 78 cards back to front, all kinds of positions, blah, 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 right? So that's why I started teaching it as well. I've busted it down into a bunch of sections of classes and I teach it like it's kindergarten. And I've had really good success with my classes. But I've never budged from traditional tarot. Like I said, I started reading very young. My dad gave me my first deck at 11, and that's my thing. That's my jam. So with tarot, it's your spirits that come and pick out the cards. You can always ask anything that you want, but tarot is always going to let you know what it is that you need to hear. So I explain to my clients, you know, this deck is full of salt and vinegar. It doesn't sugarcoat anything, and neither am I, but I can also promise my clients they're not going to hear my opinion on anything either. Everything out of my mouth is going to be from tarot and from spirit. It's amazing. It wasn't until about 15 years ago I realized that I have a tarot guide, spirit guide. Her name's Rebecca, and she helps me out, especially at fairs, because I'll be going all day. Sometimes I'll read up to 25 people a day at a fair, right? But they help, and it's your vibration raises up to meet theirs as well. So when tarot's describing a person, place, or thing to the client, I tell them, don't second guess what you get. This is going to be your answer. There's no room for self-deception when we get tarot. There's no fluff. There's no nothing. But even if you've got the worst cards in the deck, tarot will always give you an exit plan. It's always free will, choice, and consequence at the end.
So if, for example, like right now in my mind, I'm like, do I move? Do I not move? Am I buying a new townhouse? What am I doing? So I could ask the tarot that?
You could ask them what would be the outcome, what would be my best interest, but those are all choices that you have to make. And if you haven't actually made a decision, your answer is not going to be there. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't know. I want you to tell me.
So say you've already decided to move, okay? What's this move going to be like? Can you give me some idea? We'll pull a card and you can get some advice. Should I move? Well, that's up to you. That's your free will and choice, right?
Okay.
What's the advice on selling this house? And tarot will give you the answer for that, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Or, the direction you're going in here, Lorraine, doesn't look good. You might want to make some different decisions. it always gives you the exit plan. It's always extremely very real and what's going down.
So then, okay, so what kind of question should I be asking? Do you have a card? Like,
I got my tarot right here. My dad gave me this box when I was 16.
okay, pull me a card. Now, so if I'm doing this on Zoom, I haven't
Yeah.
even touched the cards. How
Oh.
do I know?
So I used to be a stickler about that too, right? Having read for over 40 years now, I've been through all kinds of things with my tarot, you know, rituals on what you do. However, all magic is remote, all of it, whether we're sending healing, doing spell work, you know, whatever we're doing, all magic is remote. So
It's energy.
yeah. So when I started, when this started, it's your spirit guides that pick out the cards anyways. You don't have to touch them. They know what you need to hear and they pick out the cards. I just get out of the way. I'm just a mess.
Right.
I'm not cards either.
You're just holding. So okay,
and
so
I get the energy, like the signal when to stop.
right. I get that. Okay, so you're gonna get stopped. And so then what would my question be if I haven't decided if I'm buying or not?
Okay, so let's leave it open. Tarot's going to let you know what it is you need to hear, no matter what. Okay, they might say, you know what, that's not really important, Lorraine, but this is.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Tarot.
All
We
right,
do
let's.
this for everybody because I'm sure everybody has these basic questions as well.
They do, and everyone's different. Everybody's different. So let's just pick a card.
And I don't want all the realtors calling me because I am a realtor.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So let's see what card they've decided to pick. So let's go. They got the Two of Swords here. Okay. Now, this is a very interesting card because this is known as the card of denial. And when you try to explain this to some people, I don't know what you're talking about, right? Because they don't want to see. So with this card, what I do is I explain it and the client puts it where they need to. So here you are, Two Swords. One sword is your heart, one sword is your mind. And oftentimes they're in conflict with each other and we don't want to deal with it. So what do? We just cross them and put on that blindfold. Okay, to keep the peace. I don't want to deal with it right now, or I haven't made my decision. I don't want to. And this can serve us well for some time. However, eventually, this blindfold starts to get itchy. What are you going to have to do to scratch? You're going to have to drop one of those swords, creating that imbalance that you were trying to put off in the first place. But then you're left seeing clear as a bell with that sword in your hand. So when this card comes up, if you've been ignoring something, the time's coming where you're going to have to decide, and that sword's going to drop. So please prepare yourself for that.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
And that's
Okay.
and this and that, you know, there's 10 cards in the layout. I still do the old school ancient Celtic cross. And then I've got my clarifying deck, you know, like I just love it. I just love it. I never get sick of it.
Well, we will keep sending people your way.
No, thank you.
So you're going to be speaking on the evening of April the 18th at the Unitarian Fellowship Hall at 595 Townside Road. And do you have anything coming up that you'd like to share with our viewers to let them know what's going on?
I do. I always have lots of stuff going on. So I do the moon ceremonies, new moon and full moon every 2 weeks. You can find my website, tarot, etc. on Facebook or message me personally and I can lead you there anytime. Of course, the enchanted evening of the paranormal coming up with you. And then I've got the moonology course that I do with the ceremonies, and I'll teach you all about moonology and how to do your own moon ceremonies. And we're going to end with a full moon ceremony, and that's on Tuesday, April 23rd. And then that's on Zoom. And also on Zoom, I've got the candle magic and defense against the dark arts as well. And then Thursday, May 9th, I've got my occult lecture and presentation, 2-hour presentation information at the Macmillan Arts Center with the Shift in Action group in Parksville.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Ava.
Yeah, with Eva. And then I've got the Nanaimo Spirit Wellness Fair coming up Saturday, May 11th at the Cavalati Lodge here, where I'll be doing 15-minute readings all day. And then the Metaphysical and Psychic Wellness Fair at the Knox United Church again with Ava on June 8th. And then last weekend of June is the Alchemy of Gathering Fair in Courtney. And then the Medieval Fair in Coombs coming up in September. And I always have my own psychic fair, Richmond's only psychic fair that I do every year in Richmond on my friend's blueberry farm. It's called the Psychic Circus fair that I do. And it's on my friend's blueberry farm in Richmond. And that'll be on the fall equinox. And we're going to finish off with a equinox Mabon ceremony there as well that I'll be leading. And then I'll do the Bewitched Market coming up here in Nanaimo on October 5th. And I also want to announce my book. I don't have a real copy of it yet. It's coming in the mail. I'm so excited. My first book was published just 2 weeks ago. And it's
Good for you.
I Am Witch. And I'm already starting to write my second book, which will be mostly on the paranormal based trips presentation that you're going to see next Thursday, as long as being, you know, mortician and funeral director and all that kind of stuff as well. So I've always got lots going on.
We have to wrap up, but
yes.
I just want to say you've written a book called I Am Witch.
Yes.
What's a witch then? Because that's another scary word.
Witch is a label. Labels are for soup cans. If you want to round it up, throw it at that, you know. I've been called a witch ever since I was a little kid. My parents were witches and they were labeled as that. So same with the word occult, with witch. I'm not afraid or hiding from words anymore. So I'm just bringing them back.
Good.
You know, bringing them back. It is what it is.
Awesome. Well, Kyla, I so look forward to being and listening to you on April the 18th. So thanks for being here. Thank you, everybody else, for being here. And come join us. It'll be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.